Go ahead.
So, Your Honor, Mr. Kokomo reviewed February 21st.
Okay.
There was one issue we had, page 165, line 5. If you recall, you ruled it out. It was when he was using pronouns they after they shot up the car, and it created the impression that Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Garlington shot up a car, but that's not what he was saying. So you ruled that out, and I assume that the state's going to address or to take care of that oversight.
Is that right? Y'all gonna take care of that oversight?
Yes, Your Honor. And it's actually page 65, line 5. Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Now, Your Honor, as it pertains to the January 28th statement, on approximately page 180, and I can get the transcript and we can talk about the specifics. There was a portion that I wanted, that the state wanted out, and that was where Mr. Copeland was talking about who he think may have done the Donovan Thomas killing, and the state said it was hearsay and speculation, and I argued that it showed that he was talking about he wasn't naming our clients and was saying other things, and Your Honor ruled in our favor. They've taken that out.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if my stance is we're telling the jury that we're playing his statement.
Right.
And strategically, I understand that they might want to keep that out and keep that from a jury, but if we're telling the jury we're playing his statement, it seems to me that it's gamesmanship that doesn't really make a lot of sense in this trial. If they're going to make us get up and replay a statement, and we're going to have to reestablish context just to play 2 minutes, and if character stuff, that should come out, but to selectively choose what you're playing, I don't think that would be appropriate in this circumstance.
They've got a point there. I mean, if we're basically, taking an hour-long or 2-hour-long or however long it is statement and saying, here it is, you ought to kind of have to take the bad with the good. I mean,
And I think the state's position is we don't know if they're going to play it until cross-examination, because we don't intend to bring it in. They're telling us that that's what they're going to do, but we really don't know until.
Okay. Well, I mean, for ease, we could just do it this way, but what if they represent as an officer of the court, they're going to do it? Then would you do it? And I'm not going to make you, but if they are going to do it, then they will be entitled to do it. So it's just a matter of when it gets done.
I mean, we can jump up and down in front of the jury and talk about how they strategically excised a certain portion of his statement to not give them the truth about what was said and to hide facts from them, the jurors. But it would seem to me that we would want the jurors to hear everything in context.
So can I ask specifically which lines you're referencing and what timestamps?
Should I just send the jury to lunch, y'all? I mean, we're not going to get through more than about 15 minutes of any statement before it's lunchtime.
The state wouldn't object to that, because hopefully we can work through the 220 as well and get everything resolved.
Okay, so why don't we have them come back? How long do we think? I don't know why nobody said anything about, oh gosh, we still haven't done the February 20th statement, but how long are we anticipating that taking?
15 minutes, and I.
Oh, okay. All right, great. That shouldn't be an issue then.
And if they give it to us, we can see if there's anything that we can see to. So it might be shorter than that, depending on what it is.
Okay. All right. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take the lunch break. Y'all probably, attorneys, need to be working through the entirety of it. I'm gonna let the defendants go have about 30 minutes to eat their lunch and then come back here. I will also come back here in 30 minutes. Y'all hopefully will have gotten a lot done in that 30 minutes. Then we will go back on the record, hash through whatever we need to hash through, and, you know, whatever. So, okay. So timing wise, then, 12:30. Why don't we have them back at 1:15? And hopefully that'll give them a nice break and us enough time to get everything done. All right. So we are on recess till 12:20. Okay. Y'all probably shouldn't leave at all, but go feed the defendants and I'll be back at 12:20. No, y'all ought to have crackers in your bag. Okay.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope for functionality and freedom of creation.
Get that, Miss Westmore. So that's good. We need each defendant and at least one attorney for each defendant. Looks like we have that. So, all right. All right, let me get this statement pulled up. What's the question? Yeah.
Boy, I would hate for this lady to be my boss. She say 30 minutes, she mean 30 minutes. You better eat your lunch fast.
Close to being able to figure out what you agree to, what you want to dispute.
We're ready, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So you want to tell me, I'm sure you've got Mr. Steele's proposed redactions in front of you. We can just go kind of paragraph and then sub-paragraph down through it. Does that work? And you can tell me which ones there's agreement to and then which ones we need to hash out.
Yes, Your Honor, and my timestamps are going to be different because I think Mr. Steele was looking at an MP4.
Okay.
And I was looking at evidence reviewer, so I have the actual clock time versus I guess the MP4 time. But I can tell the court very quick. We can go paragraph by paragraph, but I think it could be. I can tell you what I can see too.
Okay, so looking at his motion,
Yes.
his paragraph 3 that addresses the first 12 minutes, more or less.
Yes. So if the state believes that what needs to be played is let me go back. They all enter the room at 1:33:17. And then the detective, he leaves the room at 1:33:51. We would advance past that portion, Your Honor. At 1:37:28, the detective comes back in. He begins by reading Ms. Quarterman and Mr. Copeland their Miranda rights and Miranda warnings. And so I do believe that should be played, which is from 1:37:43 to 1:41:58.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay.
Any issue with that, Mr. Steele? No. Okay, that's fine.
Then the next portion is 1:41:59 through 1:44:57. That is when Detective Curry is primarily speaking to Ms. Quarterman. We will redact that portion.
Okay.
The next section at 1:44:58 is when Detective Curry begins speaking with Mr. Copeland. And from 1:44:58 to 1:49:37, the state agrees that is when Mr. Copeland is just telling Detective Curry what happened. the shooting itself. And we do agree that he testified to that on the stand, so we would redact that as well.
Okay.
But everything after 149:42 to the end is what we believe needs to be played. That is everything he disavowed on the stand and said that he would have never said it.
All right. So you want to play the portion that is the giving the Miranda warnings, and then you want to play 149:42 through to the end.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And with regard to what 149:42, where that is on.
And that is on page.
I mean, of the motion. It doesn't look like there's an objection to that. Am I wrong? I mean, I know you have overarching objections, but with regard to redactions.
So I think in Mr. Steele's paragraph 6, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, I think those are these timestamps from 24:44 to 25:50.
Oh, right, because his times are different. Okay, so point me to where in your motion we start getting the part that the state is proposing to play.
Would it be possible to just put it up on your Zoom so we can look at the timestamps and you can hear the conversation?
Yes, but can you point me to what part of your motion I need to be looking at? I mean, if we've already covered, 7 of your objections, I just want to get to the one that, I need to be thinking about.
I think that if I'm tracking it, we're in paragraph 6 of the Mr. Williams motion
Okay.
from today, filed today,
Okay.
Division 1,
All right.
which is an hour. And I understand, there's a difference in which timestamp you're looking at, but it's 12 or
Okay.
24:40.
So honestly, I thought it was fairly easy in terms of being able to follow what was going on, to use the transcript, unless there's a reason I need to hear the video.
I could find it in the transcript.
Okay, so if we can do that, that might be a faster way to get through it.
I just need to get the transcript.
Okay.
And I'll say, Your Honor, the portion would begin on page 20 is where we believe we should begin.
Okay.
Page 20, February 20th statement. Page
Okay.
20, around page 20, line 20.
All right. Where they're talking about a car.
I think Detective Curry says, so why would they still be shooting at you? And then Mr. Coleman says, this shit give me a headache, man. You good with me, man?
And they have a different transcript than you.
No, I think they have the one that we gave them.
What?
No.
I think they,
Is your transcript
78 pages?
No, it should be 77 pages. And you know what, Your Honor? I believe that your transcript may inadvertently have the wrong cover sheet. Hold on one second.
Yeah. So you think the one that's labeled February 20th is not actually February 20th? Is that what you're saying?
I'll send it over, Your Honor.
No, don't send it over. I've got all of them. They just might be labeled wrong. So I'm looking for a 77-page transcript.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
It's not that one. Okay, well, maybe just send it. I think I've got one.
They all don't have the same transcript.
So on page. Yeah, I've got it. I see the why would they still be shooting at you? Y'all, why is it that nobody said anything about we still need to go over the February 20th statement last week when that's what we were here for?
last time there wasn't an objection.
Correct, Your Honor. When we played the last time, there
So
wasn't
these are
objection.
new objections.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
I didn't want any
I know.
There was a general objection, but I think once we played them, that's why
All
I
right.
called Mr. Sharp last night, because I didn't recall. There was specifics.
Okay. All right. So, do y'all have what you need yet? Have y'all sent it?
I can give them this copy.
Yeah, that's fine. So, Mr. Steele can have a hard copy since he's sort of leading the charge on this. But can y'all email everybody a copy? We will. Okay. All right. Page 20.
This trial
She
really done
thinks
turned
is
into a
kinda where
shit
we were
show, for
starting.
real. The Lil Woody shit show.
And maybe you tell us whether that's what you're objecting to. And on the January 21st and January 28th, are we good on those?
For the January 28th, Your Honor, the portion that defense counsel is asking for us to play, we are fine with playing it, but we believe to be in full context, we will need to play we would need to play everything, and Mr. Sharp, you can look at it to see if you agree. Everything from page 82, line 21 through through 90, potentially 98, line 8.
All right.
Couple things, Your Honor. I just want to just put everything out there and so Your Honor knows what we're dealing with. I'm going to look at the January 28th, their proposal.
Okay.
So I will report back on that.
Okay.
Ms. Percival, there's a request for the Zoom link for Mr. Steele. Okay. Okay, great. With going back to the February 21st, there's
February 21st.
yes, and I'm
Okay.
sorry to keep jumping around. There's two things.
That's fine.
There's two things. First of all, page 30, line 19 to page 42, line 7. We, I think, properly excluded that because, and it was at the request of myself, honestly, because I questioned whether Kenneth Copeland had firsthand knowledge to talk about Tay shooting up the barbershop. Rich Homie Kwan's father's barbershop. However, now we've heard Mr. Copeland testify, and he said that he and Tay shot up the barbershop. So
Yeah.
clearly has firsthand knowledge. And in this segment, he is saying, no, Tay didn't shoot up Rich Homie Kwan's barbershop.
Right.
So I haven't, full candor, I haven't gone through, I'm trying to do it with a fine-tooth comb if there's anything else objectionable in that area. But page 30, line 19 to 42, line 7, at this point should be played because it's inconsistent and it's also clearly based on Mr. Copeland's testimony, putting himself there. It's something that he did, in fact, unbeknownst to us, have firsthand knowledge of.
All right. And I guess that would be kind of a similar thing if the state, you, the defense, are saying you would intend to have it played. So the question is, does the state want to just play it as a part of theirs or not.
I just need to read it because this is the first time I'm hearing about it. So I just
I
need to
just
read.
caught that actually.
I just need to read it. So long as
All
we
right.
read it, I think we'll be fine.
And you had the times 3019 to 42:7.
Yeah.
Now, and additionally, Your Honor, and I'm endeavoring to find it. There are, and I'm going through my notes. There are two segments where there are two interviews where Mr. Copeland speculates about who did the Donovan Thomas murder, and it wasn't these gentlemen. One is we just addressed, and about the state taking it out strategically.
Right.
I'm trying to find the other one. I don't know if the state strategically did that for the other one, but I had the same objection, but I'm trying to find where that is.
You don't know which interview it's in.
I'm trying to go through
Okay.
my notes right now because
Okay.
So the January 28th interview, the one that you all were just talking about?
Yeah.
It has two different portions in it.
okay,
And one of them deals with what you were just talking about, in addition, in the other interview.
okay. Well, what's the other interview? Right. I've identified the January 28th, but there's another interview, and that's what I'm trying to identify.
Sorry, you look for it, and then we will.
Okay,
once
he
you find
talks
it.
about it's the area that he talks about supposedly someone running off with the drugs and stealing from Mr. Garvin and
So
people.
once you find it, just email me, text me, and then we'll just look at it.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right, let's then go back to, so other than those two issues, so that's an issue with January 28th, which the state will look at and get back to you on whether they want to play that part, is what I understand. And then did y'all also want to look, y'all are also going to look at that little portion of February 21st, 30 through 42. And then, so January 28th. All right. All right, so back to February 20th now. Yes.
I'm having a hard time locating where in the transcript I've targeted. Can I just play it's about a minute and a half,
Sure.
and then maybe we could find it in the transcript, and then we could track.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this is paragraph 6, division 1, and with the court's permission, Mr. Kokomo is going to play it, and then if anyone can find it, it would be helpful.
Right.
You recognize who it is. I'm just waiting on you to be real with me about it. It won't stop. So you saying the loyalty, not knowing who is out here shooting at your baby mama and your baby ain't gonna stop it? Because you can't sit here and tell me today who you recognize as the person who was shooting at you. If this stuff was loyalty, if they had, all the rules of the gangsters or being a gang member, all this other stuff, you don't truly mess with family. You mess with everything else around. You don't come to the house.
We can stop the video because we now know where we are on the transcript.
That's fine. And I'm just now doing something 24.
Right. All right. So,
My objection is it's just the detective. My objection would be that's the detective saying, I see it in your eyes, you know who it is. And if you don't care about your family and you care about the streets or whatever he just said, I would ask that to be removed. And to my knowledge, he's not testifying.
What's the state's response?
You're right. I think you have to read all of that in context and not just stopping there, but if you start at page 23, line 16, and he's trying to get him to determine who do you recognize in the car, and he says what he says in order to get Mr. Copeland to tell him who's in the car. And even after Detective Curry makes those statements, when you look at page 24, line 15, Mr. Copeland responds to what Mr. Curry is saying. So in order to understand his response, you need to know what Detective Curry said in order to finish up page 24 of that page 24 of the transcript, but the rest of that statement. It puts what Mr. Copeland is saying in context. And this is what he denied here in court about not wanting to be a snitch. He didn't care about being a snitch. He, everyone was forcing him to say it was Tay.
All right, and so like the response that you want is 15 through 21. That's
really, it's the whole section here. I start on page 23.
okay.
Line 16.
All right. I mean, Mr. Steele, it's pretty much just kind of typical police questioning. You know more than you're saying. No, I don't. Yes, you do. I mean, I don't find that to be, it's your argument that it's 403.
Well, I don't have any right to confront him, so typically the police questioning, that the police officer here, we can ask why you're asking those questions. He's saying, I see it in your eyes. This is not part of my defense. This is not the core of it, but it's just impossible to have a trial by video, audio. And it doesn't put anything in context because Mr. Copeland.
The government owes you $5,312. Here's how to get it within the next 5 minutes. You see, the government hands out these spending cards to all Americans making under
This context. This is just the police officers telling him that he has more loyalty to the streets than he does to his family.
Well, he's not really saying that. He's asking him, is that what it's going to come down to? I'm going to permit it over objection. All right.
The next one is 2631 for another minute and 30 seconds, approximately.
He doesn't know what the page number is, but it's going to be a couple of pages after what we were just looking at. So it's going to be Detective Curry, basically the same thing, saying, you know who it is, and you won't tell me. All right, let's hear it, and then maybe we can.
Guess what? Still going. You know why it's still going on? Because we only get half of it. You know one of the dudes that sit in that car that shot at you, and you were sitting here today and won't tell. How do you think we're supposed to help you in all this stuff that's going on? It's the whole gang got there. It's not stuff. And so I don't even understand. You was 30 feet. Huh? My cousin I was. What you was associated with. And then everything else that rolled about with it, it's starting to come back to haunt. And where your cousin at now? Which one? Which one? The other one? In jail. Both of them? And you out here on the streets trying to survive. And now you at this point.
Same argument.
Same response.
Same response.
Because it's a continuation of the conversation that we just talked about. Mr. Cope said, I didn't kill anybody. He said, I feel police are out to get me. I put all my pride to the side.
Talking to the mic, I'm
sorry.
sure Mr. Harvey can't hear you.
And I'm on page 24. And then he says, you know why it's still going on? Because we're only getting half of the story.
Yeah.
And then he goes in to say it's a whole gang out there and they're not going to stop. I believe I asked him specifically about that question and he denied saying that.
Yeah. I'm going to permit that over objection as well.
Next one's 2920.
Okay. And if you'll go ahead and start playing that one.
I went through all this, man. I didn't do nothing.
So you telling me that you can
27.
maybe it didn't or maybe it did hit that car seat. But you telling me right now that loyalty enough to the streets, which the streets is coming in your house, shooting at your baby mama and your baby.
They're gonna make it worse on me. They're gonna make it worse on me.
You're a better man than me.
No, I ain't.
Can y'all stop the talking over there? Because I'm trying to hear. Sorry. Okay, so stopping it. You're a better man than me.
But if you keep playing it again, I think it's all in context. Because the next thing he says, I don't look at it myself and anybody. I just know the trouble I'm putting myself in. Because again, he's talking about if I tell you
so
all,
I don't think Mr. Steele's objecting to that answer. He's saying, can we redact the part in between there?
So redacting at line 3.
Basically, right?
Yes.
So like line 3 through 10.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next one.
3223, Your Honor. Through 3232.
For somebody you know that you won't sit here and tell me who it is. But it's okay. It's okay.
It's not it, man.
Can you play it again for me? Okay, page 29. What? Okay, thank you.
And just pick right back up. For somebody you know that you won't sit here and tell me who it is. But it's okay. It's okay.
It's not it.
Same argument. All right, I'm going to permit that one.
It's 33 even to 3340.
Okay. Yeah, and that would be on page 30, starting at line 15.
Or do you know more than one? Huh? You know one of them? I know you know one of them. Your face tells the story. Now, out of all the ones, you might know the other. But I know you know one of them because the face tells the story. Because the face tells the story of somebody being close. That you trusted.
It ain't dead.
All right, I think we can probably do without that question.
I think that if you Copeland says after that, you have to understand why he responds in that way. And he's telling him, I know you know, and Copeland's response is, I wouldn't say it.
Okay, so on not page, but lines 10 and 11 up there, 3 people, this is the detective, 3 people in the car, and you knew one of them. And do you know more than one?
And then he says, huh?
Yeah.
And he said, it ain't that.
I mean, you can get the answer. I don't want the wrong person locked up without, who knows whether the face told the story of it being somebody close that you trusted. That's potentially confusing.
That's fine, Your Honor.
So that part's out.
Next is 3810, Your Honor, and it's about 2 minutes. It's 4017.
All right, let me ask you, did 34 through 3447, I don't know if you meant to skip that one.
Oh, I skipped it accidentally. Thank you.
All right, so this is,
Your Honor, I'm sorry. Did we stop at the word trusted on the last one?
the question. Okay, so then this next one that's, I guess, subpart 6 is right below that. It looks like there's maybe on page 30, line 24, down through the next page about not being able to sleep. Was that it? I don't know. I think so.
I'm gonna get the wrong person locked up.
Yeah.
We already know that person, whoever it is, they've heard of you. So regardless of the situation, it's gonna come to rest. I just want you to be able to sleep at night. Now, all the other stuff that we got going on, and you're probably not gonna sleep because of the situation that's going on.
You didn't check to see that somebody comes to the house?
Nah, they checking. We're waiting eventually. Some of the stuff that we saw out there, we know that they know. One way or another. Because you shot back.
I'll tell you what stressing me out, man.
What stress you at?
All right, Mr. Steele, what do you have to say about that?
Well, Ms. Quarterman's not going to testify. 1, 2, it's just the detective stating the same things about sleep at night. I think it's irrelevant, and I think that it's under 403. It is prejudicial about who's sleeping at night, and I don't see the probative value. And then Mr. Copeland picks up with a lot stressing me out, so you don't miss any context of what he's talking about when he does speak.
All right, what's the state's response?
Your Honor, state's position is Mr. Copeland kept staying on the stand multiple times. The police were out to get him. The police were out to get him. And I think him telling him this information, it shows that the police were never out to get him at all. What they were trying to do is find the person who shot at your child, find out, try to investigate a case, and that contradicts what he said on the stand about what the police were trying to do.
All right, I'll allow that in then.
But then that goes to the truth of the matter asserted of what Detective Curry, stated. He's not testifying.
But it's the effect on the listener on how Copeland responded to what Detective Curry was saying to him.
I mean, I don't think that's being offered for its truth of whether the detective cared at all, whether Mr. Copeland slept at night. I think this is just given context to all of what he's now testified differently to. So I will allow that over the hearsay objection, confrontation objection as well.
3810 through 4017 is number 7.
Thank you.
Well, know what? We have some things we got to deal with on the other end. Now, you know, you convict a fella. You shooting a weapon.
Page 35.
Okay. Is there a reason the state needs this part?
Is it just the
It's your probation now.
The probation officer and. I mean, we need the weapon part. He's already testified to.
right? So we don't need like who his probation officer is, but we do. We do need the.
Yeah, Mr. Steele, can you be a little more specific about what part you feel like should be redacted?
Yes. I think it's on page, starting page 35.
Okay.
I'm just. I think it starts on line 4.
Okay.
And this is just asking Mr. Copeland about his probation officer. I don't know why that's
Right.
needed. Going into the next page, which is page 36. It's about Detective needing to call Detective Gaither. I just don't understand why we need that. And then we need the weapon, which has been testified to by Mr. Copeland as it would be a prior consistent statement. He said, yes, they wanted the gun. I wasn't going to give the gun because it would get me in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of down through all of 36.
Yes.
All right. That doesn't look like a prior inconsistent statement. He did say that they wanted the gun and he didn't feel like giving it to them. And the part about him being on probation, I think I am going to grant.
So the only part that we would want, Your Honor, is on page 36.
Yeah.
When he says, when Curry says you can call either one, you either can call one or two. We need that weapon. He says, I'll call Gaither because I think his testimony, he says that Gaither's always out to get him. And I believe I had a lot of questioning where I said, but when you were in trouble, you will always call Gaither. And I do believe that there is some value in the jury seeing his demeanor when talking about Gaither. Back in 2015, he didn't think that she was his enemy, at least during these interviews. So we would ask for a line
12 through 14.
Yes, from 12 through 14.
If it's for the demeanor.
Well, frankly, 19 through 22 seems to. Oh, no, that's the probation officer. Never mind.
Yeah, he's talking
That's
about the
something
probation.
different. Okay.
The
What
next-
were you going to say?
I was going to just remind the court, the next day is going to be February 21, 2015, and you're permitting, I believe, a video audio recording. It's Detective Gaither with Mr. Copeland. So if you want to see the demeanor of Mr. Copeland and Detective Gaither, this would be cumulative.
Your Honor, I disagree that it'd be cumulative because I think that it's important that on multiple occasions, he had this comfort level with Detective Gaither versus his in-court testimony when he's making it seem as though Gaither was always attacking him, never just had it out for him. He had a relationship such that he always called her when he was in need.
Potentially, there's
Well,
9.
I'm not sure that it actually establishes that because he's basically being told you either need to call one person or Gaither, and he's like, okay, I'll call Gaither. I think we can do without this.
The next round is 40, 40.
Timestamps, correct?
Sure. I don't know what the timestamps are, but the lines are page 35, starting with line 4, and then all the way through all of 36. Well, actually, through 37, line 2. Okay, Mr. Steele, next.
40, 40 through 41, 20, once we find it.
All right. Okay, so this is the very next thing. You need to keep in touch with Gator. You need to lay low, very low. Okay.
You see, you found it? Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it follows right from what we just, this is 37 line 4. Is it just the question?
Yeah, it's going to be the Detective Curry making all these statements, just giving all the instructions. And then I believe Miss Quarterman is then speaking, who's not going to be a witness.
So you're saying, sorry, 37 line 4 through
I'm taking it up to
however long she's talking, maybe 38 line 8. I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm asking Mr. Steele. He's looking. Well, I don't know. It may go further than that.
well, there's just a lot of HUD.
There's not really much of anything
Correct.
getting said.
That's true. Goes up to, I believe it's going to go up to 41.
All right, and that'll encompass your item number 9 also, or no? Yes, okay.
No, that should not be done.
No? Okay. State's response?
So, when it goes to the page 37, line 4, you need to keep in touch with Gaither. Again, to me, that impeaches his whole notion on the stand.
Okay. Just that you need to keep in touch with Gaither, or are you going to make this argument about the whole?
No, so there's other portions. We won't object to the you need to lay low
Okay.
portion of it. I know somebody close to you, it hurts. We can take that out. However, when he begins to ask Deshawn if she knows who the person is, which is page 37, line 21, and she says, by the time I looked at their room down their window, they had already started shooting. When we go over to page 38, Curry asks, is there anyone you let come over to the house recently that normally ain't been there? And then she says, nah. Then Copeland says, tell him who's been there. He's talking about Tay. So here we believe that is relevant because he said that he didn't know who he was. And so that would be impeachment from line 10. That would be a prior inconsistent statement, from line 10 all the way through page 39, because he's encouraging, he being Copeland is encouraging Quarterman to tell Detective Curry who it is. And then on page 39, she eventually says Tay, who is there. So all of that is a contradiction would be a prior inconsistent statement.
All right, so let's take that a bit at a time. So the 37 line 4 down through 38 line 8, I'm going to rule out. So this part about Copeland essentially saying, okay, let's go ahead and be honest about who's there. And it's not so much her responses as it is him knowing and wanting, I guess, to be honest about who had been there. Is that your argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Steele?
I'll just maintain my position.
All right. I will permit that portion.
Would Your Honor give the line numbers, please?
So it would be 38 line
10.
7? No.
10.
10 through, you tell me, Miss Hilton, where it.
Well, I'm sorry, Your Honor, probably 5, because you probably need to understand why he says tell him who's been there. So we would probably need to question anybody you let come over to the house recently that normally ain't been there.
Okay.
And then she says not, and he says tell him who's been there.
Okay. All right. All right. So 38 line 5 through the end of 39, 40 line 2, 40 line 4.
40 line 2, because then he just goes into
Okay.
who's his brother.
All right, so that part is okay.
And the part that the court excluded started at, you need to get in touch with Gaither or exclude.
Yeah. Okay, what's our next item?
4540 through 5050.
All right, let's start to hear it.
Right now, we only know there's a guy by the name of Tate. That's a possible person. You know where Tate come from? What area he live in?
I don't even know like that. I just know from him water breaking around here. I don't know like that. I just seen him in Mechanicsville a couple times.
Anybody know where we are?
Mechanicsville and Simpson. Well, Mechanicsville and Simpson. That's a.
Yeah, that was before I was in Mechanicsville. I know he was right there.
How old is Tate? He about your age? You older?
He young.
Or you young?
He young than him.
How old are you?
Page
So you like 18, 19, something like that? How old are you? You 20?
He 21. I'm 21.
You're about 20. So it's Tate that lives on that's Mount Simpson and was over on Simpson in Mechanicsville. There's two places you know what?
Hanging when he came.
You start hanging when he came to Mechanicsville, but he said he's from Simpson. Well, yeah,
That's where he's from.
that's where he's from, Simpson. But you met him over there in Mechanicsville.
He went to club. We used to be at club playing basketball.
Well, one thing I want to tell you, you gotta look at her. You gotta look at your baby girl. Full circle. You got a lot to think about tonight.
All right, so Mr. Steele, your objection on this ground goes through where on the transcript?
Through page 51, line 10.
Okay. So, 50 line 17 through 51 line 10, I can definitely see that being kind of just not anything the state needs. 50, page 50 line 17 through 51 line 10. What about before that, Mr. Steele? Is there anything particular before that that you think is objectionable?
Well, it's Ms. Quarterman speaking, but Your Honor, I'll waive, for purposes of what you just said, I'll waive the other opposition.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Mm-hmm.
so where we started, that I would think that this particular section actually starts on page 46, half of line 19, where the secretary says, and right now we only know there's a guy by the name of Tay, that's a possible person. We know where Tay comes from, what area he lives, and that's what we're going to. I don't really know him like that. He's from Kansas, center said that they go kind of back and forth.
All right, I think Mr. Steele's saying he's doesn't have objection to that part.
Well, I have objection, but I'm waving. I'm waving.
Are you saying waving or waiting?
WAIV.
Okay.
I guess I don't have an objection then.
Right. All right. So what is the next portion we need to think about?
5350.
Hang on just a second. So it is 1:15, which I think is when I told the jury to be back. And is this is the statement you intend to play next, if possible? Is that right? Okay. All right. They'll just have to wait a few minutes. I think we're getting through it. What do you think? How much longer is this going to take?
I don't believe it would take more. Once we find the transcript, it goes very fast.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, it's line 50, line 17 of page 50 through line 11 of page 51 that's coming out.
Correct. Yeah. All right. So then where's our next portion?
5350 through 5430.
Perfect.
It's number 10.
Thank you.
You know, it's kind of sad. Because at this point, you have a cousin, two cousins that's in jail. You have three other brothers. You have a baby. You have a baby mama. This your first child?
Yes.
Do you think that you'll be able
On page 53, Your Honor, line 13. Through line 19.
Okay.
Of page 53.
Yeah.
Correct.
But you know, me and her get into it every second of the day, every 5 minutes.
Hi, George Weber. In 1902, Scott Joplin wrote this song in St. Louis, and my great-grand...
Miss Hilton.
That's fine. Just so you know, it's kind of sad. It's what your cousin to you thinking into your child grow up.
Right. Okay. That's out.
The next one, Your Honor, is 58 even to 5920. And it's number 11.
All right. Any idea where that is in the transcript? If not, we can just start listening until we find it.
I didn't do none of it.
So basically, young
On page
thug,
55,
watch this.
Thank you.
line 21.
All right.
Because I can't talk to the detectives. And then folks in the street saying, I'm a snitch, I'm a snitch, I'm a snitch. Nobody don't want to hang around. I call my promise, they don't want to hang around.
I'm lost.
Like, what the hell, where the hell all this come from? Where the hell is going on?
So basically, young thug and washed his hands of you. And Birdman. And now,
I seen him in the club. I gave him that. He gave me that. And I was talking to him. That nigga ain't talking with too. He's just like, yeah. Shit. You was like, what he been at? You feel me? But what he did do, he called when you're arrested. Like, everything, all is okay. You feel me? But
I'll waive that, Your Honor.
All right. Yeah.
The next one, Your Honor, is number 12. 5950, which should flow right out.
Okay.
this way you're hating on you for what you had?
I know for
Because you came from where they couldn't get to.
I know this kid, this him. Well, I'm
I'll waive that, Your Honor.
All right.
And then,
Miss Quarterman talking.
yes.
All right. Well, I don't know, but
Goes back to 36. 36, so it's backwards.
Oh, okay.
36 minutes to 38:10. Can we play it, Your Honor?
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know. So it's going to be before page 57.
Yeah, just, yeah, if you'll play a little bit of it.
Shit not gonna work. Shit right here be a damn snitch. She's going.
You would have told her first thing. So I still ain't act like you did.
I didn't. They want me to say I did.
You should have just said no. I thought you knew who it was.
I do know.
Is that it, Mr. Steele, on page 32?
It's all, it goes up to, it starts there, it goes up to 34, line 18.
Okay.
It's basically Ms. Quarterman speaking. Mr. Copeland speaking as well, though. So if the court finds that it's context, then I'll waive it, but.
Okay, let me look at it. All right. Seems to me like this is mainly Mr. Copeland talking. She does ask a couple of questions, but they're obviously questions and not statements. I think we are not going to have any idea what he's talking about otherwise. So I'm going to just allow that.
And the next one, Your Honor, is really the paragraph 7.
Uh-huh.
It's 42, 20, and it really encapsulates paragraph 8. And it goes up to 46, 29. So once we find the beginning, it'll be easier on the transcript. But it's a lot of talk about family members of Mr. Copeland and Miss Quarterman. I don't remember that even coming out for Miss Quarterman's family in this trial as an inconsistent statement.
All right.
If that's page, we can hear it, but if that's page 40, where he talks about who his brothers are, and yes, we can listen to it.
Can we hear?
Yeah, let's hear the beginning of it.
It should be 42:20.
Anybody you let come over to the house recently? It's normally ain't been by there.
Nah, cause we just like
Huh? Business.
yeah.
I got a problem.
Bro, tell you.
So you gotta put this tag.
So, Mr. Steele, does this look like it's page 40 and 41?
I didn't hear it link up to that, but page 40 and 41 are definitely.
You'll object to that as well.
Well, it's in here because that's, what I'm referring to, but I did not hear it yet. I still can't find it.
I'm
in the
not either,
transcript.
but
It's right after, Your Honor, the portion that we did just speak about when Mr. Copeland is saying who came to the house and Tay came to the house, then immediately after that, Detective Curry starts asking about his brothers, Mr. Copeland's brothers, and that goes from page 40, line 4 through approximately page 46, line 19.
Okay, so maybe it's somewhere in there, but are y'all good with redacting that part?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Okay. And the next one would be, that should take care of paragraph 8 as well,
Okay.
and 7. And then the next one, I believe the court's going to let it in over objection. So I'll waive it. I'll stand on it, but I understand you ruled.
Okay.
And that's Division 1 of paragraph 9. Division 2 is Mr. Copeland's relationship with his probation officer. We heard a little bit of that earlier. He said he gets along great. I don't know why that's in there, but I think you let it in just a minute ago. So if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to be
It's something
wrong.
we just cover. It's the same thing we just covered.
Yes. I believe so.
I mean, we can, if you can point me to it, I can look back and see what
No, I believe you.
I said, unless anybody's.
I mean, if the state wants it out, I just don't see how it's relevant. But I think
I don't
you let
know where it is.
I think you let it in. So
I don't know. Can you point me to where in the transcript?
no.
Okay, fair enough. Can you play it?
Yes. 4017 through 4040, and this is paragraph 9, Division 2.
Okay.
Every time something happens, I call her soon as I get the chance, and I tell her exactly what happened. And she come out my house, and I explain everything what happened to her. It's the first thing I always do. I even tell her stuff before, like, what's going on.
That's out, I believe. If it's page 36 to page 37, line 2.
That already came out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's out.
Okay. Then number 3, you've already denied that objection.
Okay.
So I'm moving on to 4 unless I disagree. Unless somebody disagrees. Number 4. I believe you, under your ruling, you're letting that in. I maintain it's not an inconsistent statement with the testimony, but I believe your honorable court ruled against that. So
Okay.
that's number 4.
I don't know.
And we could play it, sure. It's 52 even to 5350.
How do I survive this? How could I survive this? I can't go nowhere if I don't have any money. Let me tell you why.
It is page 52, line 11.
Gates don't call my phone when I was in front of the door. Like, she wanted me to talk. She wanted me to come out and talk. You did? Everybody right there. Yeah. Everybody did. I left one down here and talked to her. No. She like,
Now, I don't want to waive it, but you know, to be fair, you've ruled about the snitch and
Oh,
coming
yeah.
in,
So you mean like the concept of it. I haven't looked at this particular piece of that. Yeah. But yes, I will permit that in.
Okay.
I thought you were saying we'd already looked at this. Okay, I understand now what you're saying.
Just based upon your ruling.
I appreciate it. Okay.
So which line?
Well, it's in, so it doesn't matter.
And then that should be going up to number 5 of that paragraph 9.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Mr. Copeland discussing his life and lessons in his life and spiritual beliefs. I like that out, and that's 5430 through 58.
every second of the day, every 5 minutes we together, she put me on. Guess what I do? I leave. And I think about what's going on.
Page 53.
And I do whatever I do to talk and get back.
And what would I think the objection to this is relevance. Is that right?
Yes, he's
Okay.
talking about life.
What's the state's response? All right, they'll take that out.
So just to be short, page 53, line 21 to page 54, line 10.
Yes. Line,
But they had ain't nobody
actually
hollering
line
at us.
15 is what I
They
have.
ain't doing none of that.
Okay. Through 54, line 15.
Well, I made a mistake. I apologize. Isn't it the next? It's up to page 55, line 11. All of that
Okay.
is his same, unless I'm reading it too quickly, it's the same. He talks about if his child didn't cry that day, then he would have been in the house and they could have shot into the house. And he's just talking, I mean, he's being smart, I guess, and thoughts on life, but it would never come into a trial, in my opinion.
You're right. We would agree up to line 23. However,
Wait, hang on. What page are you
sorry,
on?
I'm sorry. We would agree to redact up to page 53, line 21 through page 54, line 23.
Okay.
After that, he says, everybody keeps telling me to hide, lay low with what money. I believe there was a lot of question about who he spoke with about after all of this started to happen. He then talks about I wasn't looking for trouble. He goes in and out of this statement, but towards the end, that's all. I didn't shot, I didn't kill, I ain't asked nobody to do. I had nothing to do with it. Didn't have any.
Slow down a little bit.
Sorry, I was going 250 words a minute.
Yeah, you were.
That's all I can. I ain't shot that nigga. I ain't kill. I ain't asked nobody to do it. I had nothing to do with it. Didn't have a problem. And so when he says everything I said is cap or everything I said to the detectives is a lie, I believe portions of this paragraph should come in.
Okay, so maybe starting at 55, line 8 right now. I ain't done nothing, man. Blah, blah, blah.
I agree.
Okay.
I won't object.
All
I'll
right.
waive the objection at that.
Yeah,
I see what he said.
All right. Next.
The next one is paragraph 9, number 6, and Your Honor, you've already ruled on that and
Okay.
overruled the objection, so I'm
All
going
right.
to number 7 if that's
Thank
okay.
you. Yep.
And it's the same exact answer. It's about the snitch.
Okay.
And then number 8 on the same paragraph. It's Ms. Quarterman and Mr. Copeland discussing, they call him Moontung, but it's Mr. Sledge, S-L-E-D-G-E.
All right. And I don't know where that is, so if you want to maybe start.
122.18.
Sharia got more. I think she said she called. I'm gonna try to hear y'all find out. Sharia about called Shan. Yeah, Sharia called Kitty. He called Kitty. No, she said. Sharia called me.
I'm not hearing anything right now.
That's all it was, but I can't find it in the transcript.
Yeah. Can you start that part over?
122.18.
Everything. No. No. Sharia said she called Motu. Sharia called Motu? I think she said she called. I'm Shred about
I
content.
think that's page 75, and Mr. Skills can correct me. It sounds like page 75, line 14, maybe? I'll let him confirm. Because they're saying.
Everything. Yeah.
I think most, so she like, I think she said something like most, no, Sharia said she called Motu.
Sharia got more.
I think she said she called.
I mean, that's right. Yeah, I'll find out. Shred about content.
Yeah, Trey called the key.
He called the key.
No, she said. And Trey called me.
There's a lot of unintelligibles in the transcript. I just don't know why.
I think it's unintelligible on the video as well.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what the relevance is. I hear Moontung, so if you don't hear that, it says unintelligible, but
Why is this judge always giggling?
yes.
Okay. Y'all need that?
And Miss Love won't let Simone handle her thing. I don't know why Miss Love won't just take over.
And how long is the playtime on this video with the redactions? About an hour?
I'd say so. Maybe a little less, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and Your Honor, for this portion of it, which is the interview is pretty much over and they're in the room just talking. There's only a particular portion on page 74 that the state intended to play. It says unintelligible here, but it's going to be page 74, line 19.
Okay.
And Kenneth Copeland, I believe I hear him say, no matter which way it go, I'm going to lose anyway if I tell them that Tay did it. Now he go to jail. When he go to jail, boom, he going to tell everybody I told on him. Like, shh, that's what I'm saying. And then he asks, how does Max find out?
Okay.
And so
everything after that, you're not playing anyway? When Miss Quarterman starts talking?
Hold on.
Okay.
No.
Adrian Love said Moontung told.
For page 74,
Simone
line
said
19
no.
through page 75, line 18. That's what we will be intending to play.
And I can't tell whether that's part of what is being objected to or not.
I won't object to that.
Okay. And then don't play the rest of it, basically.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I think we're through that. Or is 11 something different?
No.
Oh, you're saying no objections to that. Okay.
I don't mind that being played.
All
If
right.
it doesn't play, I could play it. But,
Okay.
But otherwise, everything after is done. I think I hear it excluded except for that portion. That's what I was asking.
Yes.
So we have line 10 on page 75 through the end of the interview. Is that what I'm hearing?
Is out. Yes.
Well, that's true, but it goes earlier. I thought Ms. Hilton said it starts earlier when the two of them, I'm sorry, when Ms. Quarterman and Mr. Copeland are in the room together, I was moving to exclude everything except for a little portion, and then I don't object to those pages just written out, was said by Ms. Love, and that little portion is the 1:0015 through 1:0450, which I have to play it to tell you exactly where it is, but in the interest of time, if the state doesn't play it before I played it, I would address the court.
If anybody can just tell me the time, the page number and the line, so I can make sure that's out, I'm good.
So I understood Ms. Hilton to be saying she wanted to play